Years ago, my mother had surgery and needed care. I was missing work. I was scared of losing my job. I was doing the best that I could. My supervisor at that time knew exactly what I was going through. She also knew I had federal protected rights under the Family and Medical Leave Act, FMLA, but she never told me. I found out later that she did it intentionally. Welcome to Quiet Steady. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Sylvia, and I am an HR professional, a mother, a wife, and a woman in midlife who has learned most of her hardest lessons the hard way. Today, I want to share one of those lessons with you because it might be exactly what you need today, especially if you are a working woman navigating a family crisis or even your own health and you're not sure as to what to do. Stay with me. This matters. So my mom had surgery, and like many employees out there, I was struggling. I was struggling with balancing my attendance, my work responsibilities, and caring for my mother. I was absent from work a lot, and obviously I wasn't performing well. Well, my supervisor knew what I was going through. She knew that my mom had surgery. She knew that my absences were due to my mom's illness because I was caring for her. And she didn't do anything. She didn't say anything because she also knew that I was eligible and I qualified for FMLA, the Family and Medical Leave Act, which is a federal law that protects employees' leaves. But she didn't tell me anything. Why? I don't know. But I learned later through an HR manager that actually cared that I had been eligible the whole time, that I had protection under these laws, that my job was protected, that I had rights, and my supervisor did not share that with me. It was a choice that she made. I want you to sit with that for a moment because I had to. I left the office, that environment, I left, I went elsewhere, and eventually I made the determination that I wanted to understand protected leaves and I wanted to help other people gain knowledge in those areas. I became an HR professional and I studied, I grew, and I kept going. And eventually, I became the FMLA subject matter expert at my organization. The thing that was used against me once became the thing I mastered. Later, I was asked to present FMLA for a group of managers and supervisors. I prepared my presentation the way I always did, professionally with real case scenarios. I stood in front of that room and I talked about my mother's surgery. I talked about the missing work. I talked about being scared. I talked about the supervisor who knew and chose silence. And as I shared the story, I looked at her. She was in the room, sitting in the audience. She was there, present in my training, and I was training her. And I held my composure because I told the truth. I looked at her and I kept going. I kept going and I felt good because I wanted her to know that I knew what she did to me. Because that is what you do when you are quiet, steady. You don't collapse, you don't explode. You stand at the front of the room and you tell the truth clearly, calmly, and with everything you have learned since the last time someone tried to diminish you. She never promoted beyond that position she held. I kept growing. I'm not sharing this to be unkind. I am sharing it because I want every woman watching this to understand something important. Integrity compounds, excellence compounds. Doing the right thing, knowing your craft, showing up with honesty and professionalism, it compounds. And the people who choose to diminish others instead of developing them, they actually stay and they don't grow because that is what happens when your energy goes into holding people back instead of helping them to move forward. You don't have to fight back loudly. You just have to keep going quietly and steadily. Now, I want to give you what my supervisor should have given me that information. FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act, is a federal law that provides eligible employees with up to 12 weeks of unpaid job protected per year. Here's what that means in plain language: your job or equivalent position must be held for you when you return. You cannot be demoted, reassigned to a lesser role, or be penalized for taking FMLA leave. Your employer must continue your health insurance during your leave under the same terms as if you had continued to work. You qualify if your employer has 50 or more employees. You had worked for that company at least 12 months and you have worked at least 1,250 hours in the last 12 months. FMLA covers your own serious health condition, caring for a spouse, parent, or child with a serious health condition, the birth, adoption, or foster placement of a child, and a qualified military exigency. Here is the part most people don't know. Your employer has a legal obligation to notify you of your FMLA rights when they know that you have a situation that may qualify for FMLA. What my supervisor did was not just unkind, it was a violation of the law. You do not need a supervisor's permission to request FMLA. You go to Human Resources, you request it by name in writing. You can do it in writing and email, but you document that you made the request because they have to give you the information whether you qualify or not. And the reason, if you don't qualify, they have to tell you why. You may also take intermittent leave, which means that you don't have to take it all at once. You can do a day here, a day there, an hour here, an hour there. If this video helped you or someone you love, please share it. It might reach a woman who needs it today and doesn't even know it yet. Subscribe to Quiet Steady for weekly videos about midlife, the workplace, the transitions, the emotional way, and the wisdom that comes from living all of it. And if you have your own story about FMLA or workplace rights, I want to hear it. Your story matters here. Please share it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.